Hello guys, this is J-Man out here. I've been making a review on 3/4 inch ratchets I currently own and I've currently used in the past, and I'm going to put my review on these and see what you guys think. So the first one we are going to show is this OEM 1/4 inch ratchet right here. This is the flex head, and it's a 1/4 inch extended handle, and it's a pretty nice ratchet. It's coarse tooth ratchet, not a fine tooth. I don't know exactly how many teeth are in here, but I'd guess, a decent guess. I'd probably say 60 teeth, I'd say. Nowhere near 90 teeth or 70 tooth, nothing like that. It's nothing fancy, but it does get the job done. It is actually pretty durable, I will say. The only issue I do have with this ratchet is that over time, the flex head design of it would get sloppy. So it's pretty stiff here. Still has some retention in it, but I slightly go back here, and it just goes back all the way. So I use this for probably, I'd say, 2 years, and it did its job just fine, just how it was supposed to as a 1/4 inch ratchet. I was just getting too tired of it because the head on it is fairly thick. If you see that, it's about the same thickness as my finger there, almost as thick as my finger. Which, I mean, if you're in the engine bay and you're having to use this, there's no issue. But when it comes to interior work, such as working on replacing actuators, blower motors, and tight spots like that, or resistors for the HVAC housing, this did do the job, but it was kind of a struggle when it came to tight spaces. So to kind of combat that, I didn't stop using this one at all by any means. It's a good ratchet. It's a strong ratchet. I went ahead and got this Duralast. And I don't know the part number. I don't have a part number on this one, and I thought it would be stamped on the ratchet. Oh, yes, it is. 51001. This is a tad bit smaller than the OEM, and I'll put them side to side. It's just a tad bit smaller, but I ended up using this one a lot for interior work due to the fact that the head on it is slim compared to the OEM. It's slightly thinner, and because it was slightly thinner, it helped out on replacing Modor actuators, blend door actuators, blower motors, resistors, stuff like that. And it actually held up pretty good when it came to doing dash pulls. And I used it for a year, and I decided, you know what, instead of swapping between, two different ratchets, one for engine bay, one for interior work, I decided, why not I'd get a different ratchet, which I will be showing next after I'm done reviewing this one. But overall, this one's actually pretty good. And the one thing I did like about this, but also was kind of annoying, was this quick release. I mean, I understand this quick release. When you need to get more hours, flag down more hours, you need to finish the job quick, and you just need to change socket real quick, and you don't want to spend time having to release, pull it off. You just push the release, get another socket, put it on, call it good. I can understand that, trying to get the job done just a tad bit faster. Well, I got tired of it because sometimes I would get in tight spots and I'd pull the ratchet back, and it'd either be a small little fastener or a little edge would barely press this, and my socket would fall off either between a tight spot, or it'd fall where I couldn't see it, so I'd have to scrounge around, try to find it, or I'd lose my socket forever. And I did not want to do that, especially with my 10mm socket, 1/4 inch, my deep and my shallow, and my mid. The mid one actually I use quite a bit as well. I'll make a review on those sockets in a later date. But the teeth on it are actually, I'd say, pretty fine tooth. Um, I'd guess anywhere from probably 70 teeth, either 70 or 75 teeth, because if we look at the swing arch on it, that's probably 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to say either 4 or 4.5 of a swing arch compared to the OEM, which I believe these ratchets are made by the same distributor, just different labeling and design and gear mechanism. I believe the parking pawls in these are the same. I believe this has one parking pawl in it. Yeah, this one has one parking pawl. I took this one apart. This one has one parking pawl in it. This one has two. One here and then one here, which I think is pretty good design compared to the one parking pawl, because if it has one parking pawl, that's kind of the failure part most of the time, and two parking pawls work pretty good, but you have a higher chance of it failing faster. Other than that, this one, I'm going the wrong direction, but this one, the swing arch on it is probably 6 degrees of swing arch. And I know I'm kind of making that up in my head, so I'm counting it. Six degrees of swing arch. Now I still use these two ratchets in the shop. I still use those two, not on a daily basis, but the main one I do use, which I just purchased, I'd say about 6 or 7 months ago, was this gear wrench. It's a tad bit long compared to the two previous ones I owned. It's a 90 tooth gear wrench, 1/4 inch ratchet, and there we go. And on the lever mechanism here, we got on and off, which I think it's pretty cool. Similar to the Duralast, which has on and off. This mechanism in here on and off is actually really smooth, and I actually haven't taken apart this ratchet to see how the internals are on it, but it has a snap ring, a heavy duty snap ring on it, which actually quite surprised me, because normally when I see ratchets like these that have a snap ring on them in front, instead of having a plate and two screws, they're normally a very chintzy flat snap ring that won't hold up a lot of pressure. The one thing that I also like about this, since it's a flex head, it's not like the OEM, it's actually a better. This actually has a detent ball right in there, which is kind of hard to see, but there's a detent ball hidden in there, and it's actually grooves on the back of this head right here, and those markings in those grooves there are where that detent ball stop it from going in a different direction. I actually use this one for dash pulls, interior work, engine work as well. And actually, I use this quite a bit on the front engine covers on Lincoln MKZs, Ford Explorers, and Ford Tauruses when having to replace or reseal the front engine cover, or having to replace the having to replace a water pump on those because they have an internal water pump, or doing timing chains. I use this ratchet to actually break those fasteners loose, since it's a tight spot where I could fit my 3/8 drive ratchet, but it's kind of a pain. But this one actually holds up to it, because on those bolts you have torque them down to 10 newton meters and 24 newton meters in one stage and second stage. And this one actually holds up pretty good. And I've actually used this to break fasteners torqued higher than 35 foot-pounds, and it hasn't skipped any teeth yet, which I'm quite surprised with. It hasn't skipped any teeth, and it's still functioning just right. And this is also a comfort grip as well. And I thought, since it was a comfort grip, that the grip wouldn't be resistant to any kind of solvents, transmission fluid, brake fluid, or engine oil, but it has been. I've had this grip soaked in solvent before, soaked in brake clean, brake fluid, transmission oil, and in engine oil, and also engine diesel oil, and it's still stayed strong. I mean, I'm surprised that this soft plastic or rubber hasn't deteriorated on this grip here for the comfort of it, and quite surprised with it as well. And I'm gonna take the socket off here so I can show the detent strength on it. And detent ball on it's pretty strong still. Sorry about that, guys. Low budget filming here, but it'll get the job done. Detent ball on it's still pretty strong, and actually, if you look here, it holds. I mean, I can shake this back and forth, and it'll still hold that position. You know, I can shake it back and forth, and still hold that position. Now, if I were to shake it with, an intentional amount of force to try to make it go in a different position, of course. But one thing I actually do like, since it has that detent ball in there, is this works really good, in my opinion, when it comes to interior work, especially when it comes to messing with the HVAC housing box. And what I mean by that is, if a vehicle comes in and they say it doesn't have defrost, and you find out that it needs the temperature blend door actuator for that, and you need to pull so and so off, if it says you need to pull the dash out or anything, but you can make a shortcut, and all you have to do is you can just reach up in that tight spot with this, since it's a thin head, and just kind of loosen those bolts off, pull it out, and then put the new piece in and tighten stuff up. That works pretty good, because I couldn't do it with this one because that head was too fat on it. But with this one I can, which makes doing jobs a lot faster, but also a lot nicer and quicker. Overall, these three ratchets are really good. They really are. I'd say most likely if I were to kind of go back and see which one I'd purchase first, it'd be the gear wrench ratchet. Not because, that's my best one, I've ever had this and this. No, it's very convenient as a ratchet. The way it's designed and the length alone, because you can actually put a little more torque behind it to break it faster and loose. And the flex head, since it holds itself, I'd say that's a pretty good pro in my book. I don't think it's a con in my book, but others may think differently, and they're, if you're doing a different kind of job. But overall, these three ratchets do just fine, and I'll turn the gears in here so you can just hear it. It's in the off position. This is in the on position. But yeah, overall, these are some pretty good ratchets I've had already. I'll do a review on a snap-on quarter-inch ratchet, and I'll compare it to this gear wrench, and I'll see if there's a difference in them. Most likely there won't be. It might just be, the only difference on it might be just the snap-on logo on it, but that video might come soon. I don't know. I'll just see. Well, that's my 2 cents about, my quarter-inch ratchet, guys. See you later. Have a wonderful day.